Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. It is time for week 4. It's time for Friday Night Lights. It's Main Slate discussion with my friends, the Great Swame, Odell Blocker, and Willie Walls. Gentlemen, there's already injuries galore. I don't know if you guys saw Chris Olave, very questionable.
Yeah.
McBride out, Devontae Adams out. Willie, does that change anything that you're even looking at so far or not really?
Well, it does. I like this. I like this one guy that I'll talk about a little bit later in that game since Devontae is out. You know, we'll speak about him a little bit later. It don't cost too much money.
Is he a very fast man who runs in a black uniform?
Yes, sir. Very fast.
He's on all my basketball teams. Swami, what about you? Did it affect you at all or not?
Oh, yeah, Doc. It definitely had an impact. Just hearing that, these late injury reports is like never good. I kind of warm up with the first look with you guys. And then as the week progresses, but as that stuff started to unfold and the new guys started to add, I was like, just didn't like it, Doc. It didn't feel good.
It got quick. All right, let's kick it off with quarterbacks. It feels like that game in Arizona is going to be where all the people are playing, Willie. It's going to be Daniels. It's going to be Kyler. Do you think, like last week, it seemed obvious to have Carr or Hurts, but that game failed. It seemed obvious to have Goff or Murray, but that game failed. Can this game fail?
It can fail, but I think most likely it's not. Listen. The Commanders' defense is horrible, and when I say deplorable, I mean deplorable. They are horrible, and Swami pointed out in this article. But I would say this: I've been on them because the number one, every person can eat in this offense. The quarterback can eat. If you looked at all 3 games that the Commanders have played, who ate in the first game that they played at quarterback? That quarterback ate in the first game, and who even Daniel Jones ate in the second game, and Neighbors. Remember how it went? Then the third game, you saw what happened with Burrow, So they give it up, but they also, we'll talk about the other positions too. I mean, my favorite guy is, so you could play either quarterback. Either quarterback is in play this late. And the one thing that I was really impressed. I've been hard on the Commanders more than anybody, and that's my team. But I've been hard on them. But let me tell you something. That young boy could play. They've only punted like one time. I mean, they lead the league in yards per drive, and they also lead the league in giving up in yards per drive. So they do them both, So, but this dude, he has not had a turnover yet. He has not had one turnover yet. So I'm just saying.
Does that mean he's due, Willie?
Yeah, he's due for one somewhere to happen. But I'm just saying that you definitely can look at the quarterbacks in this game, but then we also got more quarterbacks with Dalton. Listen, you can go any way with quarterbacks on this slate.
Swami, we've had a few people chime in. They don't want to play the quarterbacks in this game. Are they saying the right thing or are they saying the wrong thing?
I'm leaning towards the wrong thing. And the reason why is we got a lot of very interesting matchups this week. But this one, I think, has probably the most upside. Meaning, if you looked at this and you said which game could go nuts, both teams kind of like what you saw, maybe some of that back and forth on Monday night. I could definitely see where, Daniels was starting to get this thing going through the air a little bit. He got Scary Terry involved. It wasn't like an Ertz sighting. I'm talking about the tight end Walls. Don't get confused. So hopefully they can continue, I think, to develop some momentum on offense. I don't think the defense is going to be solved anytime this year. So I expect them to be in shootouts. I do think Arizona's defense is slightly better, and they've been playing at least decent. But I think this game, in Arizona, I think this could, be our best back and forth.
All right, there's another game that I really like. It's Jacksonville and Houston. There's you got to be looking at C.J. Stroud. And I know you're going to laugh at me, Swami. I gave you Bo Nix last week. I'm giving you Trevor Lawrence this week, my friend. Don't give me that look. But I'm telling you, when I'll be texting you at about 2:20 that Trevor Lawrence is taking down a tournament, you'll know I'm right. What?
I am on behalf of Trevor Lawrence, his family, and his fans. I will not let you put him in the same boat with Bo Nix. No way are we making that type of comparison.
Bo Nix was good last week.
He had a great game last week. I agree with you. But I think Lawrence has to get on track. This could be a game where he could get on track. Houston's defense showed they had some holes last week. I think it's getting to that point where Jacksonville is they're feeling that fire a little bit. They're getting a little bit desperate. They got Kirk involved. They're going to have to get other people involved in that offense all at the same time. I think they're hurting, missing Ingram. It's time for ETN to get going. I think I like this game a lot. It's just what Lawrence struggles is what concerned me. He struggled to he has to get that offense going. And right now, I might have to say that this game is behind the Arizona-Washington game. But, Doc, I do agree with you that I'm interested in a lot of pieces here, and I could definitely see every lineup having somebody from this game in it.
Willie, are you in on Stroud? Can you do you like him?
Yeah, this is a perfect comeback game for it because it's a perfect remedy. Listen, let me tell you something. Like I was telling you before, that I told you that Minnesota defense, man, that Minnesota defense is nasty. And you saw what they did with San Francisco. There's two straight offenses. They straight up just gave him the bully ball. But this is he's killed Jacksonville in the past. He has killed them, and this is a great spot for Nico Collins because what do Jacksonville do more than anybody? Play man to man. They play 60% man to man. What does Nico Collins do with man to man? He eats it up, and you don't have Dale there, so it's only two of the receivers. So he has an incredible 42% target thing. Where a share when they in man to man. This guy is a beast. He will eat, but also don't forget about Mr. Diggos over there. This is a good spot for Diggos too. So, you can have
really, people forget. Do you know that Diggs is one of the best man-to-man receivers when he played with Josh Allen? All of a sudden, people are forgetting that because Nico Collins is so good, but Diggs used to tear up man coverage.
So listen, they're both in play. Stroud is in play because listen, Jacksonville's defense is horrible. Now, the only one I'm kind of interested in running back with is if I had to run somebody back with it in this game was to be Mr. Strange, that tight end. I like him. I think he's interesting if you had to run it back with. But like I said, Nico Collins is probably my favorite play in this game.
Swami, would you double stack Stroud with Nico and Diggs?
Heck yeah. And I wouldn't be running it back with Strange. That sounds strange to me. Mr. Kirk would be the guy, or maybe Mr. Tom, but it would not be. And I'm not mad at Strange, but just in a game like that where if I'm double stacking it, I need to come back with one of those guys, those other two guys.
Let me give you some more quarterbacks. I'll throw them out there. You just tell me if you like them or not. Joe Burrow. What do you think, Willie? Yes or no on Joe Burrow?
Yes. I like Joe Burrow. Yes.
Swami, is he in play?
Yeah, in Carolina. Heck yeah.
What about Justin Fields, Willie?
Justin is in play, but they like covering him up. You know what I mean? So he won't be my guy that I'll be. And I'm the biggest Justin Field fan, but it's working well for Pittsburgh. But
did you hear how lukewarm that was?
But he could break a slate. What if this game explodes and it becomes a high-scoring game? Is it possible?
I'm not gonna be nasty or crash on this podcast. Ain't nothing exploding in this game. No. Listen, I think Pittsburgh's gonna put hands on him, and I don't see no explosion going on. Listen, I love Mr. Fields, but he's got to beat me. He's got to beat me with these other quarterbacks on the slate.
So, let me give you one more quarterback that I just had this feeling. Remember, I had the feeling that Denver was going to win last week. I have the feeling Baker is going to go crazy this week because Tampa was embarrassed. And Philadelphia, not the greatest secondary. Can you get behind any Baker Mayfield action?
I think Baker he put hands to him in the playoffs last year. I think he had a really nice game. I think they probably need to get Mike Evans going. I think this is probably a good week for him. But I think where they're really struggling is, White in that backfield has to do a little bit more. They got to help out Baker in that offense. They got to start showing up some kind of way. They got to get them involved. And if they do it, I think they can, probably put up a little bit of fight this week. But I don't like it. Baker's going to have to throw the ball a ton because he's not getting any help. So, Doc, I'm not mad at it, though. I see where you're going with it. I definitely like maybe Evans or I could even talk myself into some Godwin. If you're going to play him, though, I think you got to double stack it.
I didn't play Evans the last 2 weeks, but he's in play this week.
He isn't playing
because I couldn't play him against certain. There ain't no way. He just shuts people down. So, but he's.
Am I missing any quarterbacks? I mean, Andy Dalton. Can we go back to Andy Dalton, Deshaun Watson? Anybody? Willie?
Dalton is in play. He is definitely in play.
I'm Andy Dalton's unofficial agent, right? And so I'll say this: I did not like Deontay showing up on the injury report late. Adam Thielen's already on.
He showed up late. He showed what?
Yes, sir.
He's going to play. He's going to play.
What did he show up with?
A groin.
Oh, when you talk hamstring and groins,
I do not like they kind of scared me. And then with Thielen out, if you telling me we're hanging out hat on Mingo and maybe Leggett, it's just
Leggett can play.
I'm fading Andy Dalton in every which way because I think JS is right. Thielen is the glue. Deontay is great, but Thielen's the glue. Without Thielen, I don't trust Mingo. I don't trust Leggett. I don't trust Tremble. I don't trust those guys can run the right route.
Thielen got hurt in the game last week, though. When did he get hurt?
On the touchdown pass?
Deontay?
No.
When did Thielen get hurt?
During the game, he hurt his hamstring.
No, when? No, I'm saying when.
It's called a touchdown pass.
Late in the quarter.
Late in the third quarter?
Second quarter.
Oh, well,
right before half.
They still put hands on him in the second half without him.
What
I'm saying is, I don't like Deontay Johnson being hampered. Now that puts a whole different spin on everything.
All right, let's get to running backs, guys. It feels this week that there's not a lot of cheap guys. Like last week, Cam Akers was there. I'm not saying we can't go back to Cam Akers this week. We can, but it feels like a pay up week. Let's start with Breece Hall, Kamara, Bijan, Swami. Do you see yourself getting 1, 2, 3 of these guys in your lineup?
Not just no. But the hell no. Ain't no way you can pay them type of price and put them guys in a lineup. We already talked about the receivers that we like. There's a couple guys we didn't mention there that are still men of interest. You can't rule out, for an example, Mr. Jefferson and how he's moved on up against Green Bay a couple of times. But just going back to the question that you asked, I think that obviously Barkley right now is the guy. He's the person who you're looking at to have that ceiling game and maybe still carry the team. I think it's nothing scary about Tampa this week. But as far as paying up with everybody else, I think Kamara showed up on the injury report. I don't think I like that. You also had, a couple of tough matchups with some of the other guys. I don't know if I want to pay up, and there's people I like in better spots, namely James Conner, who me and Walls like a lot. I think he's in a great spot. I know somebody mentioned him in the chat as well. And then maybe Ford, I think, is a decent spot. Kyron Williams, they're going to have to lean on him. So I don't know if I want to pay up this week. Before the injuries, I kind of thought that maybe your guy, Chuba Doo was in play. But for those reasons, and anybody named White is out. They're not being considered by me until they start playing better. So I think between Williams, Ford, Connor, and could even sneak a little Mr. ETN in there. We might got some other plays, other than Barkley.
All right, King to Icon, Willie mentioned Zach Moss, 2 TDs. This could absolutely be a Zach Moss week. I'll give you 2 more guys. I think Najee Harris is in a really good spot against the Colts team that can't stop anything in the run. And everybody's forgetting Brian Robinson. There's no Austin Eckler. Brian Robinson's going to be involved in this game, Willie. So are you paying up or are you going to be in the middle here for Willie?
I mean, those two running backs, I'm going to have them in the same game. I'm going to play
Connor and Robinson?
Yeah, I'm going to have them in the same game. Connor, listen, Connor is my favorite back. I was telling this to Swami earlier this week. He's my favorite back on the whole slate. And I hope everybody just forgets, how he's going to dominate because they remember the last game. And what did I say last game? I said, do not play James Conner last week. That was not the matchup for him. This is the nut spot. I mean, they might have to tell kids to turn the TV off because there's going to be a bunch of harder ones coming on the field. It's going to be that much. I mean, it's going to be, he's in a nut spot and without Eckler, man, come on, man. Robinson, I love Robinson this week. And I don't think a lot of people are going to play them in the same game. You know what I mean? So
that makes it different. That makes it different.
I'm interested in the Moss play. The only thing that concerned me with Robinson is he wasn't involved. All these other backs are involved in the passing game a little bit more. And if they're going to bring somebody else in, even though Eckler's out, but if y'all think
Jeremy McNichols? Brian Robinson can catch, dude.
No, he can catch the ball. Listen, he could catch. And I hope everybody thinks the way you're thinking because they saw last week and the way it just turned out because Eckler got hurt like in the third quarter. But I'm telling you, Brian Robinson can catch the ball. And I hope everybody, because I'm going to have a lot of matches where I'm going to be playing both of those backs in the same game.
Now, what Willie's doing there, Swami, to me, is a lot of leverage. I love David Montgomery last week because it was a leverage play on the Lions. James Conner is a leverage play on Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray, and Brian Robinson's the ultimate leverage play on Jaden Daniels and McLaurin.
But I'm gonna play multiple. Listen, I'm gonna have somewhere I'll be playing all three. I mean, I'm gonna mix and match because this game has fantasy goodness all the way around.
All right, Swami, you gave me the look about Najee Harris, but Heat said Buckner is out, Kwity Paye is out, Kenny Moore is out. This Colts defense went from bad to really bad. Why are you not giving love to Najee? And I will tell everybody out there, I want everybody out there to go take $25 hard-earned dollars and put it on a Cordarrelle Patterson anytime touchdown.
I'm not mad at that. I just tried. It's just Mr. Heat, love you, buddy. It's just a habit of mine to not play the worst offenses in the NFL and not hope that offenses that haven't scored a touchdown and likely aren't to score a touchdown. I try not to play those. That's all. It's a very simple process here. We're looking to play offenses where we expect them to get in the end zone more than once, hopefully 2 or 3 times, because it increases the probability that we can get multiple touchdowns. But for teams that aren't going to score at all and kick a bunch of field goals, I can't be interested in his 20 carries for 70 yards.
You're not, look, if he doesn't score a touchdown, you're not taking, you need 2 touchdowns from Najee to take down the slate.
Yeah.
I like Najee more on FanDuel than I do on DK for sure. All right, let's talk about any other running backs. You mentioned Ford. What about Cam Akers again, guys? Is he in play, assuming that Mixon is out, Willie, in a high-scoring game like we know this is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, but is Pierce back?
Pierce stinks.
No, I don't think Pierce is.
I got a call. It was from Pierce's agent.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna say this. It's something about him that man. I mean, Akers he's definitely in a better spot than he was last week. It wasn't a matchup for him last week. So, but I'm gonna tell you a guy who I got a little interest in that it might make you puke in your mouth. And this would be the type of game where he would do something, man, because you got the best defensive lineman that the Raiders have is out of the game. You know what I mean? It might be somebody like a Deontay Foreman type. I mean, it would be somebody where, you look at his price point, you ain't thinking about this rascal. You play the Cleveland's defense and you play Deontay Foreman. You know what I mean? It might be, I'm just saying he might be a guy that they get 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns and had 70 yards. So it might be something crazy.
We don't have to change our name to either long shot or shot in the dark or crazy ass. We can't call it Friday Night Lights, and we just gonna be just throwing wild darts.
No, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I like the Foreman play, especially on FanDuel. Now, JS says something here, and I'm telling you, it popped on a sim that I ran earlier today. Vikings not good. Josh Jacobs came up. Josh Jacobs' name came up. Now, it seems like, why would his name come up? It doesn't feel right to me. But why would a sim throw Josh Jacobs' name in? If they're blitzing, what if he gets past the first line there? Can he make a big play? And just work with me. They have more receivers. They have 4 receivers that they're running out there. Can Jacobs find a hole? Willie, you're giving me that no look. Is it the hell no Swami look, or is it just the no look?
It is not. Well, hell no. I ain't playing. I got him in I got him in leagues. And guess what he is? I said, Mr. Jacobs, you be sitting your ass on the bench over here by me. I'll get you in next week. Not this week. Not against Minnesota.
And the part that Doc's hates is when he look up and that person on that play is Emmanuel Wilson. That's what he's going to hate.
All right. I'm just saying he popped in some sims that I ran earlier before the show. All right. Let's get to some wide receivers. This is the money position, right? We are looking for guys who are going to put the Malik Neighbors Roto 25 to 30 point number on there. Let's kick it off. I know we've already talked about Nico Collins. We love Nico. We've already talked about Stephon Diggs. We love Stephon Diggs. Swami, the best receiver in the NFL against zone coverage, his name is Rashee Rice. The Chargers love throwing zone coverage out there. Is Rashee Rice a must play, or do you think this is a low scoring game and maybe we see a Kelsey touchdown?
I think I'm not interested in Mr. Kelsey. I've done this to myself a couple of times. Fantasy folks out there, it's a couple players I'm gonna have to recuse myself of because I'm just too close to the guy, and it's too close to my heart. And Kelsey's one of those players. Mark Andrews is right there as well. These guys are heartbreaking right now, and it's hard to even trust that they'll do anything. 1 for 5 from Travis Kelce. 1 catch, 5 yards. You wouldn't even imagine it in a tight game. And so for that reason, some of these guys, Doc, I have to stay away from. So
you want Rashee Rice?
I think you can play Rice. I think my only concern with Rice, I like Rice in a game where I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive. And so if Herbert was in there, they had their pieces, and I felt like they were going to even push them a little bit. I could just see them just taking their time, running the clock, 3 or 4 long drives. They're out of there and not really having to do too much. And so for that reason, I think I'm gonna have to take Marvin Harrison's son and see if he won't, be the guy who hit a ceiling game. Or again, Justin Jefferson, who I already mentioned, gave him a little plug. He's going to be in a more competitive game. So if I had to take some guys, if you said, hey, not those guys, who else are you looking at? Then I would probably I can't get with Keenan Allen yet, and he kind of takes Doomsday out of play. I can't necessarily say guys like Sutton and Judy. So I'm gonna probably have to pay up this week at wide receiver, Doc. Get the Miko Collins, maybe go down to Rashid. I'm talking about Rashid Shaheed, and then a Marvin Harrison, some combination like that, and stay in the games where I think is going to be the most points and the most back.
All right, Willie. Rashee Rice, he brings up an interesting thing here. Could this? Not that. He mentioned Carson Steele. Could this be a Carson Steele week?
See, this is the reason why I'm not on Rice this week, because I'm not. Seriously, Steele. You saw what happened last week. This will be the type of game that Steele gets a touchdown or two. I'm just telling you. I'm not. I'm the biggest Rashee Rice fan. I was all on him last week. We talked about it last week, but I am not feeling. And Swami, I'm gonna tell you who I got a funny feeling about this week, because he eats this team up with no Derwin James. We ain't gonna talk about it. We'll talk about it a little bit later, because I'm not. I like that tight end. I like that tight end for Kansas City this week. It's the first time I liked them all. It's the first time I liked them all year. First time I liked them all year. I like him, that tight end. But I'm not seeing Rashee Rice. Listen, There's a couple of guys that I'm very interested in. I mean, of course, Mr. Harrison is a man of interest, but also a guy that is coming up that is starting to play a little bit is Mr. Michael Wilson.
Gunnar just mentioned it with McBride out. They're going to run Elijah Higgins a little bit, who's not bad, but Michael Wilson is really good against zone coverage. And the Commanders run a lot of zone coverage out there, Willie. I think Wilson's a great play.
Listen, Wilson is a man of interest. I'm going to tell you, it's going to make you throw up your mouth with one of my favorite receivers, especially with Devontae Adams out there, is Mr. Trey Tucker. I like Mr. Tucker this week. He had 9 targets last week, 7 catches for 90-something yards. And I just think that they're going to be behind. And I just think that he's going to get a lot of garbage points. But what I like about this dude is this guy's explosive. You know what I mean? He might have one, he's a returner. So he might get one of those plays where he takes something to the house. You know what I mean? Something like that. But at his price point, at $3,600, oh, yeah.
Willie, do you know what team plays the most man coverage in the NFL? The Cleveland Browns. How are you going to cover Trey Tucker man-to-man? He's one of the fastest dudes in the league.
Listen, I'm just telling you, Doc, he's a man of interest for me this week. I love, and you might be hearing his name a little later about that guy.
Doc, let me tell you about my good friend, the ambulance chaser, who's also my good buddy that has to see some performance before he's willing to project forward. That guy benefited like most of these guys do. In that case, it was late game. So if that's the script. And
excuse me, I didn't benefit when I told you Mr. Jennings last week, did I? When I said Mr. Jennings, there was no benefit.
Mr. Jennings, and I told you about Mr. Jennings. I said chalky plays are not great calls. They're just chalky plays.
No, sir. Oh, no, sir. A lot of can I tell you what his percentage of ownership was? His ownership was 3% on FanDuel. 3%. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, sir.
Nothing.
Okay, 3%. And it was 9% on DraftKings.
Justin Jefferson was 3% on Fantasy Smith Johnson Guru. See how I just made up?
No. What I'm saying, sir. Some shit. Shut it. I don't want to hear it.
You just can't.
He should have been a lock button. He should have been a lock button.
He wasn't 3% in my contest, and I can't play other people line up.
What are you talking about? 3%. He was 3%. He was 4% on FanDuel.
Who are we talking about now? I'm talking about this week. Don't talk about last week. Who are we talking about this week?
Was sneaky.
Oh, I'm talking about Trey Tucker. I like Trey Tucker. I like Michael Wilson. I think they're great.
Okay. Do you like Jacoby Myers?
I'm not going to like Jacoby Myers as much because I think that's the guy they're going to have their eyes on.
Do you like Brock Bowers? I know we didn't get to tight ends yet, but do you like Brock Bowers?
I'm not getting too much of Brock Bowers this week, but he could be a man of interest. But I didn't think Cleveland's defense. I'm not too much on Brock this week.
All right, Swami, let me get to Deontay Johnson. I know let me just throw this out. Because people saw the groin injury, does that lower his ownership? And now we're getting a steal because maybe instead of being 12%, he's 9% because 3% of people got cold feet. And we're going to get the dude catching, 12 targets, getting 8 for 90.
If he plays and he's healthy, I like him at 12 or 9%. And the reason why is because I think the Bengals are obviously a good matchup. I think he's going to be the number one guy for sure. We can look for double-digit targets. And I think that after what we saw last week, we can see that these guys are look a lot better with Andy Dalton under center. I'm talking about the entire team, even the defense played better. So for me, it's a lot of good reasons if he's in there. If he's not, then you talking about trusting a lot of guys that we wouldn't even play in a pickup game, and that's what my concern is. And so, but going back to your Raiders question, I would like a Myers this week. I think everybody else, that recency bias, there's a lot of folks in the industry that love to run behind the ambulance. And I think that Myers and Mr. Bowers are better plays this week than the guy who benefited from garbage time.
All right, let me give you a couple more receivers who I really like. I like George Pickens this week. I like George Pickens this week a lot. Willie, talk me out of it.
Oh, he's a play because they play cover 3. And George Pickens is 31% target rate on cover 3. So it's nothing wrong with that with George Pickens. I mean, he's had horrible matchups last 2 weeks. He's finally getting a break.
Me.
All right, Swami, hate him?
No, I don't hate him, but I'll talk you out of it. Again, it's the same thing with Najee Harris. Offense not scoring a lot of points. Quarterback not playing well. They kind of 3 yards in the cloud of dust. They're going to get into a dog fight, a scrap. They're going to take it into the fourth quarter. They're going to find a way to get it.
But you know what? Sometimes you got to take who they playing, though. I disagree with you. I disagree with Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is not a bad play at all. I think you have no Jalen Warren. No, Jalen Warren is not there. He's going to get a bulk.
Kenny Moore's out.
Yeah. I mean, dude. I mean, Najee. I mean, sometimes it's the attrition that you have there. It makes him a play. I mean, so I don't think, and I think Pickens. Listen, I just think that Pickens is a man of interest to me. I agree. I mean, he's not a bad play, and what they play, he eats up. They play cover 3, and he eats that up. That's the thing he does. That.
Let me get some stats from him, Doc. What are we talking about? 10 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns.
7 for 90 and a touchdown.
Okay, what you got him for, Walls?
I mean, first of all, he's not my favorite player.
No,
but he's in play. I mean, I think this week that he could get. I think he could get 100 yards in the tutty.
Okay, so
but for me, that's not going to be. He's not going to be my primary pool.
You got George Pickens for that. He should be a lock for you. And I have George Pickens getting that over the next 2 games, and that's why
I'm playing George Pickens this week. And look, I think King to Icon has it interesting. Okay, listen. What if? I know if was a fifth. I know where if I had wheels, I'd be a wheelbarrow. I get all that, right? What if Anthony Richardson can figure it out? We all think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but this game could be a track meet. It could.
Crappy, Dog.
Whoa. Hold up.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson. Whoo! Let me tell you a couple of things about Anthony Richardson. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, come close to me. Let me give you listen to Uncle Willie. Do not, and I got him in fantasy, but his ass is deep on the bench. Do not play Mr. Richardson. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you 2 examples. Okay, Jaden Daniels, when he's pressured, he runs the ball 42% of the time when he's running to get out. Anthony Richardson, on the other end, he's trying to show that he can throw the ball 7% of the time. You know who got around that percentage? Is people like the quarterback for the New York Jets. This dude, that the only time he runs is when they call a run. He's trying to stay in the pocket to show that he's a quarterback. But his arm is ass. He is nothing like Jaden Daniels. And if you do that with Pittsburgh, no. Not only no, but hell no.
So I want to go back to what Trevor said. He said Jordan Addison on Stokes. Eric Stokes may be the worst number 2 corner in the league. So I'm going to give you 2 guys in this game. First, I'm going to give you Jordan Addison because I trust in Trevor. And B, Jaden Reed. We haven't heard this guy. When Jordan Love is in, Jaden Reed is good. Are you into either of those guys?
If Jordan Love is in, Jaden Reed becomes an immediate play for me. I'm still kind of concerned with Addison, Trevor, and I trust in Trevor because Naylor played well while he was out. And I think Naylor has created some space for himself in that offense, and I think he's going to kind of continue to be involved. He scored a touchdown in every game so far. So, I mean, I don't know if you just go away from that and just, when things are kind of working well and Minnesota's playing well, but I get it. But I'm putting y'all guy on 5 catches and 47 yards. I think the guy on the other side, Doc, is a man of interest for me, and that's Austin. And it's for the same reason that Willie likes Tucker.
Oh, because the slot.
The big play, right, is the big play.
And Kenny Moore's out.
Yes, and that's why I would lean more that way. But
I like Calvin Austin, too. By the way, Jordan Love is playing. They may not say it. Jordan Love, unless he wakes up on Sunday morning with a Charlie horse or something like that, that dude is playing.
But let me say this about these. These are 2 of the most ball hawking defenses that you have. I'm just talking about. So I mean, so it's like I get it, but because of that, I'm just not. This game is like because I respect the defenses. The way they've been playing. And then, like I said, I normally love Jaden Reed, but I just think there's other guys in the price range that I would like more in this game. Plus, Green Bay still got that merry-go-round where they got 4 receivers, they could go to. But don't even though Jaden Reed is the play here because he's eating Minnesota up. But remember, think about this. This is the thing I got to keep on, and that's why even though I got Jordan Love, I'm not starting this week. Minnesota has not given up over 2 touchdowns since the last time when Jordan Love did it, and Jordan Love was just coming off an injury. So on that case, I'm respecting that Minnesota's defense, man. I ain't doing it.
All right, let's get to tight end, guys. I know we touched on Travis Kelce. I think he's a really good start. We touched on Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers is a reasonably good start. Let's talk about Kittle. Let's talk about Goddard. Let's talk about Pitts. Kittle says he feels great. Goddard was great last week. And Pitts, the Saints couldn't stop a tight end last week to save their life. Willie, any one of those guys resonate with you, or are you just going to go up, or are you going to go cheap?
Yeah, I'm going to play. Like I said, I told you I will play either Kelce, or I will play. I have a little Strange, and I'm going to have a lot of Zach Ertz in the revenge factor game against Arizona.
Swami, I like Zach Ertz a ton. I like Elijah Higgins a ton. I think those are 2 cheap tight ends that you can get a piece of in a game that you want a piece of.
Doc, first, as much as I like to disagree with Willie, not because, as I've already admitted, he's the best fantasy player I know, but because it's just more entertaining for a podcast if I disagree with Willie. But Travis Kelce eats them up. I mean, let's just be honest. I'm talking about lunch, Doc. He puts a on, he grabs a knife and fork and he go to work. Obviously, you'll probably get him under owned from where we would have gotten him the last couple of years in this same spot. So it's a lot of reasons to like that.
But Swami, let me ask you a question. I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
How many receptions for Kelce this week? 5?
No, I think he has to have that more traditional Kelce game.
Right, but let's say he goes 5 for 60 and a touchdown. Is 17 points going to be the gotta have it score?
No, when I'm saying traditional Kelce, I'm thinking more, say 7 for 100 and 2 touchdowns.
Then he's the gotta have it guy.
Listen, I'm going to say this, just like as you saw in that Lamb game, Mahomes made a mention of Kelce after the game. He talked about it. He just said, you know what, I'm going to have to do a better job of getting him involved, And listen, I have not even looked at Kelce all year long. This is the first time I'm looking. When the last time his price been $5,800? When the last time his price been $5,800?
They have struggled in the red zone. They have struggled, I think, just the offense has struggled in general. And so I think they have to get Kelce involved, especially with those injuries. That their backfield is depleted.
Would you play him on FanDuel at 7,100?
No, thank you. Not on FanDuel.
So yes on DK, but not on FanDuel.
Yes.
And because as far as Steele, I'd play George the Animal Steele first. There's no way I'm putting that.
Is he going to eat a turnbuckle?
I'm not trusting him. He's 3 yards in the cloud of dust. He's a straight line. He's not a big play guy.
But I think the tight end situation is actually pretty easy this week. And it's never easy. But you've got your expensive guys in Bowers and Kelce, right? You got your cheap guys in Ertz and Strange and Higgins. And then you got your mid-range guys that you kind of know. So it's like, how last week you just couldn't find a guy you like? Here, there's like 5 or 6 guys I like this week.
So you like Goddard, Komet. Is that what you say in the middle?
I don't like Komet at all.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like Komet when Keenan Allen is back. So no thank you on Komet, And that's why I don't like Mr. Jennings this week, because Mr. The tight end is back for San Francisco.
Yeah.
He was taking his route. So it's certain people when they come back, they part of that domain in there.
I do like Dalton Schultz a little bit this week.
Okay.
Right, because if I want to double up on Houston, and I think that's a sneaky way to double.
What about Musgrave, Disley, and then Gesicki with the 2 guys out on the outside, him working, the inside?
I think this feels like a T. Higgins week to me, or a Moss week. Like, they've got to get Higgins involved in that offense. Moss has been very good, and they can run. So it just doesn't feel. I think Gesicki has good weeks, but this doesn't feel like it for me. Patrick Rose asked a good question. He plays on FanDuel, which has the late game. Is Kincaid likely or Mark Andrews? Swami, you're the Raven guy. Are any of those guys in play?
Of course. I think that game is going to have some points in it. I think both offenses, even though both the defenses are I think, good for both teams, I think both offenses are a little bit better. I think both of them, this one of those games that you kind of pencil on your, when you see a team like that on your schedule. And the Ravens need this game just like they need the Cowboy game last week. Again, 1-3 is still not a great start for them. They got to come out and they got to put it on Buffalo, which means points. Because
let me say this. First of all, the Ravens defense has not been good this year. All right, listen, this is straight up. They've been ass. Okay, so let's be honest about both defenses. But the reason I think the Ravens, what people don't know, they got the number one offense in the NFL. It's the Ravens. That shocked the hell out of me. I said, wow. So as bad as they have been, their offense has been good. And I'm gonna tell you, Buffalo. Who has Buffalo played? Tell me who has Buffalo played.
True. And by the way, Swami, you were right about Harbaugh. Lamar was pissed off that game was even close at the end.
Right.
It's an embarrassment. They could have won that game 55-6. They took their foot off their gas, and Lamar was absolutely upset toward the end of the game.
But to answer this question, Kincaid is in play.
And that's why
Kincaid is in play in this game.
That's why Walls is saying the defense is bad because of moments like that. They had 2 plays they gave up to Kansas City Chiefs, both to Worthy. They played Raiders almost for 3-4 quarters and shut them down. The same thing for the Cowboys. But he's talking about, let's be honest, the defense is bad. Clearly, he's a subpar, fair weather Ravens fan that don't.
Look, I'm just saying, honestly, listen, what I'm saying to you is this. I told you I think the Ravens going to win by 10 points because I don't think Buffalo's competition has been cheeks. They've been ass.
You know what Buffalo's always weak at? Buffalo is not a good run defense. They're soft in the middle. And if you can run, you can win this game. And I think this game might be lower scoring than people think. When I say lower scoring, I'm thinking like 27-24. I'm not seeing like 37-34.
Well, hell, on this slate, especially on FanDuel, that's what they add up to? 51 points?
But I think this will have, what I'm saying, Doc, is what I'm going to call the pace and the feel of this game is going to be more of what I'm going to say a later in the season, maybe close to a playoff type of thing, because the Ravens need this game. They looking for a little bit of a statement game against Buffalo. And to be honest with you, Buffalo has been finding a way to get in the end zone. They got Cook going, and it's going to be some points in this game. It's going to be about what you said, Doc, 31-27, something like that. All
right, guys. Willie, you got a stack. $100. Where's it going?
Chalk.
You can say what you want to damn say. I'm sorry, because I'm going to be on that Arizona-Washington game. All right? Look, I ain't stupid, but I'm going to be different. Because, when I have my stacks, I'm playing both backs in the same game. So people ain't going to be playing both backs in the same game. And my favorite play on the slate is the Arizona running back. He is my favorite guy on this slate. For price point, he will be locked in. Listen, if he gets hurt, then I'll close my computer. Because he will be, Mr. Connor will be in every.
We're going to have to do a GoFundMe for Willie, Swami.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me knock on wood. I don't even know why he bring up this. We don't even use that I word when we making picks. Let me knock on wood. What is from? I apologize, folks out there.
Listen, but the GPP play will be the Carolina-Cincinnati game, but it would be going with Cincinnati because everybody going with Carolina.
If I was made by whatever company makes Crayola, crayons, and chalk, I would go with CJ Stroud and Pick Collins. But no, I'm not going to do that to the fans of the show. I'm not going to give you the same thing you can get from grandma at the bingo hall. I'm going to go with this week, Doc.
You said if you had $100.
$100.
So be honest.
Watch this.
Remember, y'all got me off some ass when I was going to say something else. I can go unchalky too. But if you had to pay $100, remember, that's the question. If you had $100, remember
single entry. Who's it going on?
I got 2 for you, Doc, and I'm gonna give you 2 that you might be thinking about, but a lot of people aren't. Lawrence, Kirk, ETN, Moss, Higgins, and my guy Barrow.
Okay, I want to see that.
Go.
I want to see that on your big
Let's
lineup.
go.
I want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see that lineup on that thing. Not only no, but hell no, you ain't playing Lawrence in your big lineup. You liar. You're lying your cheeks off.
Lawrence will be the quarterback on one of my 3 rosters. I promise you that.
Well, I'm talking to that rascal right there.
Don't talk to me because I'm talking to
I'm talking to him.
Now I got a crazy GPP stack. Crazy. And why is this crazy? Because it's about concentration. Justin Fields, Najee Harris, George Pickens. I know it's crazy, but you know what? Crazy takes down tournaments.
No, listen. It's not crazy because if you play, you could do the same thing with Marvin Harrison. You know, you could do the same thing with Arizona, and you can play all 3 guys. I mean, it's not crazy.
Tyler, Connor, Harrison. Boom. You could do the same thing.
Because if they go for 80 points, guess what? You need to have them. You follow what I'm saying? So that's not crazy. You know, I get it, but I'm not doing it.
Because think about it this way. If Najee goes 20 for 100 and a touchdown, I get my 16. What if I get my 16 or 20? If I could get 75 points from those 3 guys and they're not crazy expensive.
Okay, so that's 16 for Najee. Count your other points.
All right, can I get Fields at 200 passing yards, a touchdown, and a rushing touchdown?
Okay, but that would be, I mean,
so that's going to be 10, 14, 20, 24. So 24, 40 from Fields and Najee, and 20 from Pickens, 60 from the 3 of them. 60 from the 3 of them. Is that enough?
Now, listen, Doc, I always like to say I like to target either their floor and then with the ability to go up. I think that stack, we're at their ceiling. I don't know if we're at their floor.
All right. What if King to Icon says Richardson and bring it back with Pickens?
That's
he said play Richardson
and then bring it back with Pickens.
Oh, first of all,
naked Richardson,
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, naked with Pickens coming.
Yeah,
back.
naked Richardson and Pickens.
Yeah, that's not.
No. Hell no. No,
it's not.
No,
crazy.
I'm telling you, not against Pittsburgh. No, not against Pittsburgh. No,
it's not crazy.
If you're gonna do that, you do that in the Arizona game where you played a quarterback and you played a running back on the opposite side.
None of them should be naked though. That's a single or double stack game for sure. That's not a naked game.
No, but you can. I'm just saying to be different if you want to give another stack.
Come on, balls to the walls, Doc. Let's see what
balls to the walls. Call and don't tell me Trey Tucker.
Thank you.
Okay, I won't say Trey Tucker. I'll say Michael Wilson. I like
I like Michael Wilson. I do.
I like Michael Wilson. I like Michael Wilson in this game. I think that I will have more Michael Wilson than I will Harrison. And that would be different where I could get a Nico Collins, I could get somebody else to be different. I said you got to be different this time. But I'm already going to be different because I'm playing both backs in the same game.
Swami says,
Doc, Swami says that he's got to stop. Doc. This is getting out of hand. He's going.
I like Michael Wilson.
And we talked about.
Okay.
Everybody's going to be on Harrison, sir. Everybody's on Harrison. I'm telling you.
It's a GPP play. It's not your cash game play. It's a GPP play.
I don't know if everybody's on Harrison, but I'm going to give you one, Doc.
Take your time.
This week.
No.
Oh, I think this week, Doc, I like Cooper.
What? On the road?
On the road. I don't know why I like Cooper.
Well, then, hey, if we're doing that, I think Ertz is a GPP play this week. I mean,
Ertz is a GPP.
No, not Ertz. I mean to say Kelsey because he's been so bad. I meant Kelsey. Kelsey is a great GPP play this week. I'm not gonna. And Ertz, and that's another guy. That's another balls. Well, I love Ertz in this game going in Arizona. I'm gonna have a lot of Ertz. I'll probably have more Ertz than any tight end on the slate.
I like Ertz too. All right, my crazy one is I just had this feeling about this Tampa stack. I think they were embarrassed last week. And I think that Evans is going to go for like 7 for 100 and a touch. I think Godwin is going to go for like 6 for 80 and a touch. And I think Baker Mayfield's going to throw for like 280 and 3 touchdowns.
Doc, flag on the play. Hold on. That's not the crazy one. The Steelers one is the crazy one. That's the $100 stack.
Yeah. Oh, well, those are like 2 crazy stacks of the week.
Listen, the Steelers one for $100. No, but I think that Philly, because they showed up against New Orleans, I think, and then the way Baker looked,
nobody's going to have Tampa.
Yeah, so I'm not mad at, because this is definitely a Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans. This is a Mike Evans back.
It can go over. And remember, Danger, because I know you out there. You weren't wrong with Rashid last week and what came up in the Sims. He dropped a couple of touchdowns. Don't expect that to happen every week. And when they drop touchdowns, Danger, that is not on us.
It hit him in his hands.
That is not on us. He had 2.
Yeah, because he had a 0. Yeah. He busted a lot of my lineups. I said, oh my gosh, that bastard. I looked, I said, he ain't got no points. I said, come on.
He had at least 17 points in drops.
It's totally true. Totally true. Could have changed everything.
Yeah.
All right. We wish you much luck. Hope somebody wins $1 million. By the way, guys, do you remember when Alicia won her $1 million? It was Seattle and Detroit. She stacked the crap out of that game. It's the anniversary of that game.
Uh-oh.
Somebody's going to be rich. Uh-oh. Hopefully it's one of us.
But I tell you what, I just think that if I had to have a game stack, man, that Arizona, I know people are looking the way it fell last week. Remember, like we said, it wasn't a week because they both give up run and pass. Yeah. So this could go. You can have 6 or 7, 5 people in this lineup, and it can work.
I agree with Dr. Willie. You got to look where people aren't looking. Everybody's looking there. We got to.
Yeah, they look, but they looking there. But the difference is they're not playing both backs in the same game. That's what they're not doing.
Me.
Well, I understand, but I think both backs can eat in this game. Really, they can eat. Both of these.
I love Brian Robinson. Love him. Love him.
I might do it then since Doc said that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Listen. You could play both. Both backs have taken down tournaments, so remember that.
Every lineup I've come up with this week has Brian Robinson in it. Oh, by the way, one more guy before we go. Aaron Jones revenge narrative.
Oh, I forgot about Aaron Jones. That's the guy. That's the guy. That's the guy I forgot about. Yeah, that's a GPP play because they have got 10 touchdowns all passing. 1 running touchdown, and he fumbled at the goal line one time. That dude is going back against them. They are ass against the run. Against the run, that's where you beat Green Bay. Not as much the pass. Against the run, you run on those guys. That's the guy.
Full with the passing game. They're going to have their hands full trying to cover Naylor, Addison, and Jefferson.
So he may be a must start.
He's very close.
That's why I say, yeah, they have their hands full. But what I'm saying is I just think that this will be a better defensive scrap game. Both defenses have been scrappy. That's all I say, and they ball hawks. But that Aaron Jones will be the guy that I'm going to have in more of my lineups because that's the one that I forgot about, but that's the one I was thinking about. He's definitely in play for sure. Everybody, please. Aaron Jones is, I think he'll be in about 20%. Yeah, 100%. He's the play.
All right, for Doc, Willie, and Swami, good luck this week. Be well and take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.
Well, fellas,